Hello, everybody. So, this week's training is on stress management, talking about several things related to stress and how we can deal with it nutritionally, lifestyle wise. And if you can manage your stress and become more resilient, you're going to have way better energy, you're going to have overall better health. And this is something that is so needed and something that is really important, but it's also something that's not really dealt with in any meaningful way on a regular basis. So we need to really get down to the basics of this. And this training is going to be all about that. So there's basically going to be three main areas that we're going to be talking about the keys to managing stress. And a lot of that is going to be dealt with, of course, nutrition, but there's some other things that need to be dealt with and understood first. So if you are new to this, or if you're watching this live, comment below that you're watching live. And if you're end up watching this on replay, that's awesome too. You'll still get the same benefit and information. So just comment replay as you watch this as well. And if you are new here to listening to this group and listening to some of the things that I have to say in here, I just wanted to introduce myself again. I'm Tiffany. I'm a board certified and licensed nutritionist. And I have a history of dealing with my own health issues using nutrition as the thing that got me to the next level and got me healed and got me back into the game where I was just so exhausted and so frustrated and so defeated because I felt like I had nowhere to go. And so that is why I'm here today discussing all these topics with you each week in this group, the Fatigue Fix, so that you can start to overcome your health issues and banish the fatigue and get yourself back to where you should be, living a vibrant and healthy life. So if that sounds exciting to you, comment below, that yes, you're ready for energy. That is the thing that people struggle with the most. But the hard part of this is that sometimes people will come to me and they're like, I just need to boost my energy. But when I listen to them and all the things around their health concerns, or maybe they have some diagnoses, that those are so many other things that contribute to the reasons why they're fatigued, and those need to be dealt with. It's not always what you think, and it's not always what you want to hear, to be honest. But the thing is that there's something to be done with it. And one of the biggest factors in this is our stress levels and whether or not our bodies are adapting to that stress. And we can set our bodies up for success with that by going through the things we're going to talk about here. All right. So first, let's address what is stress. I know that sounds like kind of a silly question because everybody has dealt with stress and will deal with stress for the rest of their life. I don't think anybody is going to be able to, go through life without having any stress in their life. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? But that's not really realistic. So let's talk about what that might look like. So there is daily stress. It could be your work stress. It could be family stress. You could be dealing with an illness. You could be taking care of someone else in your family. Maybe it's financial stress. But the thing is even if we perceive those things as good, our bodies don't really care. Our bodies don't differentiate between good stress and bad stress. And so sometimes people downplay the stuff that they're doing and the stress that they have in their life and how that affects their health because they think, oh, that's a good stress, so it's not a problem. But your body might say something different. It might be screaming at you because you're not sleeping right. You have poor gut health. Maybe it's just the basic energy. You don't have any energy to get through your day. Even though that stress is good in your mind, maybe you absolutely love your job, but it's super duper high stress. Your body might be telling you something different, and you might start to have a breakdown in health symptoms even under this good stress. Okay, so there are 5 stressors in our lives, the top 5 stressors that really put a huge impact on your health. And these are not going to be a surprise to you, and you probably dealt with them. Someone is going to deal with at least one of these in their life. And those are going to be death, divorce, moving, illness, and job loss. So those 5 things, and think about that, you probably experienced more than one of those at some in some way, shape, or form, even if it wasn't directly, maybe you haven't dealt with, say, a job loss, maybe your spouse has, and that has impacted your family greatly. That is a really stressful thing. And that would probably be perceived as a bad stress, right? Whereas a good stress might be perceived at, I love my job, or we're planning for a wedding. It's so exciting. I love all this stuff, but it's just a lot of extra things. So the bottom line is long-term stress creates disease. Okay. So why is this so important, and why am I a good person to talk to you about this? I won't go into all the details about sort of this long-term stress that I was under before I had a diagnosis of thyroid cancer. But I look at all these little assaults on my body, and it probably started back in college when my dad was not healthy. He was very ill, and he was kind of in this process of dying for a long time. That created so much stress in my body. College was stressful enough. And then that was the overlying thing that was happening constantly. It was something that was always on my mind. It was something that I was always braced for, as far as like, him going to the hospital or something, worse happening during that time. That was a ton of stress. Then I moved through into young adulthood, getting my job. I was a teacher at the time, teaching. Unless you've been in a school and really dealt with teaching and been in the classroom, you cannot understand the amount of stress that's in that job. I don't care if we get summers off, people. It's so stressful. So there was that. And then during that time, my dad, in fact, did die. And then I had, a couple pregnancies. The first one was mostly healthy, except I was preeclamptic towards the end. And then my second pregnancy, that is when my symptoms were through the roof, as far as like the depletion of energy, the depression, I can go on and on with that. And what that eventually set me up for is just this imbalanced thyroid function. And then eventually I was diagnosed with cancer. So the pattern I'm trying to show you there is that long-term stress creates disease. But my mindset was, I couldn't control the stuff with my dad. I couldn't control the stuff to some part with school and my college, and some of the stuff with my job. But the thing is that long-term stress creates disease. And I believe that was sort of the pathway for me. And the way that I was able to get out of that, aside from obviously dealing with the cancer stuff with my healthcare team, but I had to do something different with my health and my stress levels. And that was to deal with nutrition at a cellular level, like a root cause level. And it's not about just eat more vegetables and drink your water. It was way deeper than that for me. And it is for most people. You just have to kind of know what it is. But that's why I'm here today. And that's why I am a good person to be explaining all of this to you, because it is something that people discount and poo-poo and just kind of muddle through their day. And they don't even know how much they could help themselves if they understood some of these things. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the anatomy and physiology of stress. So our main stress organs are called adrenal glands. And people know about this because they come to me and they say, I have adrenal fatigue. My adrenals are burned out. I have all these problems with my adrenals. And you probably do. But what does that really mean? Okay, what does that mean? Our adrenals are tiny little, about the size of an almond or walnut or whatever. They sit on top of your kidneys. So if you put your hands in fists, and if you just put your fists behind your back and just set them on your back, that's basically the location of your adrenal glands. They're these teeny little things, and they help to pump out these hormones to help you adapt to different stressors. And that looks like cortisol. I know you've heard of that. Epinephrine, which is also called adrenaline, and then norepinephrine. Those are the types of things that are produced by the adrenal glands to help you power through stressful situations. Now, this is designed magically and perfectly because it is an adaptive and a compensatory mechanism. So it is designed that when you are driving down the highway and someone pulls out in front of you and you have to react and slam on your brakes, or you have to swerve while you're watching for traffic behind you and you're trying to avoid this accident, that adrenaline that is pushed out into your body, that you like, the end result of that is that you're shaking and you're breathing hard and you might have a rash on your chest and in your face. That is designed to help you react and respond so that you avoid, tragedy, right? So that is what this adrenal response is for. It's life-saving. That can happen though day to day. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. It could be, like I said, those little assaults of the stressful job, the job loss, or maybe you're planning for a wedding or whatever it is. Those constant assaults with no compensation for you to kind of calm your body down leads you up for disease. Okay. So this is kind of, it was this thing in our body that was designed innately to help you run away from that proverbial saber-toothed tiger, right? To run away from that. It's just, the only problem is, in our modern day society, we're constantly running away from the saber-toothed tiger, and that is the problem. So another thing we have to understand is that we have this normal circadian patterns. And when you work with me one-on-one, and I'm going to show you how to do this little assessment on yourself, but this is what I go through in more detail than I'll be able to do here with an individual, is I go through our normal circadian rhythms where we're supposed to be awake and functioning and thriving throughout the day, the daylight hours. And then at nighttime, we're supposed to come down and be able to rest and restore and recover. The problem is when we're all burned out and we're stressed, this pattern gets off. And then I'm hearing all these women talk about they can't sleep. They have insomnia. They're up at 2, 3 in the morning. They can't get back to sleep till maybe 5 in the morning. And then it's time to get up for the day. And everything is completely hijacked. It's all messed up. And people just get more stressed. They get more tired. They get more sick. And it just sets you up for trouble. So here's how you can assess your own. And this is something that I do, like I said, when I work with people one-on-one, and then I use this information to guide them, where we fill in holes nutritionally, where we maybe put in some strategies for self-care and stress management, where we target nutrition. Those are the things that I do. It works magically. It's a part of what I do in my programs and one-on-ones. And you can test this information. You can do saliva testing or blood testing or urine testing to look at some of this stuff, which is awesome. And they're very helpful, but they're also can be very expensive. And I will tell you that when I do this verbally with people and they happen to do testing as well, it matches up. Okay, it matches up. So it's very accurate. So what I want you to do, and you can just jot this down or make a mental note, come back and look at this later, and make sure that you are getting the data for yourself. But I want to assess like a 24-hour period of time where you look at your energy levels. And that is an indication to me how well your adrenals are helping you respond and relax to, different stressors in your day-to-day. So we're going to use an energy scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most energy possible. Most people don't live at that extreme or the low end of the extreme for very long. Okay. It's not really something that you don't probably want to live at either one of those extremes. Okay. So just take note of your bedtime. So let's say you go to bed at 10 p.m. and then think about whether it takes you a long time to fall asleep or not. Just jot that down. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 25 minutes, if it's 2 hours, jot that down. And then think about, do you wake up in the middle of the night? If you wake up to go to the bathroom, does it take forever for you to fall asleep? Are you constantly tossing and turning throughout the night and aware that you're waking up and turning over, waking up and turning over? Or do you just never go back to sleep? Or if you do, it's for little chunks of time. Just kind of make note of what you are doing while you're sleeping. And if you are going to sleep within, say, 5 to 20 minutes and you wake up the next morning at your wake time, that's perfect. That's awesome. Then I want you to assess an energy level at that time. When you go to bed at 10 p.m., is your energy more on the 2 to 3 level, or if it's more at the 6, 7, 8 level, take note of that. Ideally, we want it to be down at that 2 to 3. Your body needs to be ready to shut down and go to sleep so you can rest, restore, and recover. Okay. Then I want you to write down your wake time. Is that 6 a.m., 7 a.m.? What is that? And then tell me, or tell yourself, write down what is your energy level at that time. Okay. So would you give yourself a 2 or 3? You're still feeling low, no energy? Or are you up at that 7, 8, something like that? We'd rather have you be there. Take note. All right. Then I want you to put in there too where you eat your breakfast. What time of the morning do you eat your breakfast, and kind of assess how you feel. Do you feel better after you eat with more energy? Do you still feel sluggish? Do you still feel like you want to hit the snooze? Do you want to roll back into bed? And then in the mid-morning, so say around 10 or 11, what is your energy level? Okay. Then what time do you eat lunch, and what is your energy level at lunchtime? And then at 2 to 3 p.m., what is your energy level? And then dinner time, what time is it? And what is your energy level? And then how do you feel from dinner to bedtime? So do you eat dinner and then have a spike in energy? Or do you eat dinner and just gradually come down, getting ready for bed? Okay, so if you could look at your energy pattern that we just went through and made a graph of it, what ideally it should look like for your normal diurnal pattern is in the morning when you wake up, it should spike up to a good, healthy level with your energy. And then it should just have this gradual come down to about 10 p.m. You are ready to go to bed. Your energy should drop. Okay, so it should spike up in the morning and then gradually come down throughout the day. That's a normal pattern. Here's what most people looks like. They wake up in the morning and it's barely a blip off of the little imaginary graph. It barely comes up. Then maybe it comes up to kind of normal around lunchtime. It drops at 2 to 3 p.m. where you want to take a nap, or you have to eat sugar, caffeine, snacks, or you just, feel like you can't make it through the day. And then at bedtime, it spikes up. And then that's when you get stuff done. That's when you feel like, okay, I have energy to get through, get some tasks done I should have done. I can do the laundry, I can do some cleaning. And then your motor's running at, 10, 11, 12, in the morning. And then you go to sleep and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, how can I make it through this day? That is how most people's energy cycles work. And that is directly related to how well those adrenals that we talked about are functioning, like how it's actually pushing out the hormones necessary for you to get through your day in a healthy, productive, energetic way. That can be manipulated and changed by 3 things: self-care, obviously with sleep, and nutrition. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the self-care aspect. With the nervous system, I kind of described the nervous system and that adrenal response, that, fight or flight response. We need to allow self-care so that we create a space for resilience. And if you have resilience, you can actually heal and get better. So that is what the self-care about. It's not selfish. It's not, it's not considered important, because if we do things for self-care, it seems like it's frivolous, or it feels like it's not worth it. It's not about our health. So why do it? And that self-care can look different for everyone. Okay. So maybe it's getting a massage. Maybe it's getting your hair and nails done. Maybe it is, having a spa day. It can absolutely look like that if that feels good to you and actually feels like you kind of restore from doing things like that. But it also can look like getting together with friends and laughing like you never laugh. That good belly laughing where you laugh till you cry kind of thing. That is good self-care. So getting that stuff on the schedule. Don't discount socializing with the people you love, know, and trust. It could look like journaling. It could look like meditation. It could look like prayer. It could look like doing yoga. It might be a walk after dinner in addition to whatever you might be doing for your like formal exercise. It can look different for everyone. So whatever that might be for you, look at it, do it without fail, make time for it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. Get up and read in the morning, have your cup of coffee and relax, do your prayers, do your meditations, do your whatever you like to do, or do it before bed. That can help you calm down and go to sleep. Just incorporate that into your life because that will help balance out your nervous system from being always in this excitatory reactive state, which causes that fight, flight, or freeze state to kick in. If you only have that going on and you don't have enough of that inhibitory side of your nervous system to calm things down, you're going to always be in fight or flight and then freeze. Okay. If you are in that place where you're very anxious and you feel like you procrastinate and you just overthink and you overworry and you don't really accomplish things, that's probably you being in the freeze state. Okay. So you can overcome this by really focusing on some self-care. And again, that looks different for everybody. And then actually doing it and making time for it. It's not selfish. It's actually necessary. You have to do it. You have to start with something and just keep doing it and add on to it. All right. So that, of course, leads us to sleep. Now, I know that sounds like kind of difficult if you're someone who's not getting sleep. And I'm just saying, well, get more sleep. I understand that that is not always easy. And if you are, on top of it, if you're someone who has thyroid issues, if you're someone who has hormonal imbalances, maybe you're going through perimenopause type symptoms in that stage of your life, sleep can be really hard to come by, but you can help doing, working with your sleep with the self-care things that I just mentioned, but also with the nutrients that I'll talk about in a second. So we need both quantity of sleep and we need quality sleep. And there's all kinds of different apps and trackers and things like on Apple Watch or Fitbit or whatever. I use, you can see that, my Aura ring that helps with my sleep because I didn't want to wear a watch when I'm sleeping necessarily. And you need to have, most studies say that most people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And then the quality piece of that is you need to get, the deep sleep, you need to get the REM, you need to get the light sleep, you need to get all those factors in it. And you need to actually, be restful. So I would maybe dig into that. You don't have to have a watch or an app to kind of do that, but, look at ways that you can help your quality and quantity of sleep. Because during sleep is when we help to produce hormones. That's when we rest, restore, and recover. We create that resilience in our body. And of course, there's nutrients and antioxidants specific for sleep. You all have heard of melatonin. There's much more to do than just that, but that could be a place to start for people. There's all kinds of herbals that can help with that as well. But unless we're getting good sleep, it's going to be really hard to become resilient, manage our stress, and help that other side of it. So that's where self-care comes together and can help with the sleep aspect. And when you get the sleep in check, it can help with the self-care aspect. It just all goes hand in hand. Maybe self-care is taking a nap. Maybe you take a 15-minute nap. That can be part of self-care, and you're going to help your body recover and become resilient. Okay. So, just let me know. And I can't see the comments right now. So if there are comments, I can always go back to them and I will answer. But if you have any, if this resonates with you, if you struggle with sleep, let me know. Comment sleep, like sleep. That's a thing that is a problem for people. And it's just a really huge factor, unfortunately, that people struggle with all the time. And I think especially women as they're dealing with their, hormones. So we need to really work on that. And it can be remedied. I've done it myself, and I've worked with a lot of people who are doing that. And then as far as nutrition, so this is sort of the third key. And I would say they're all important, but if you don't have the nutrients, then it's going to be hard to manage your nervous system, to help your adrenals, to be able to do self-care, to be able to sleep properly. So these are the things that need to be done. You need to deal with nutrition in a much different way. I started at the beginning talking about how I am a board certified licensed nutritionist. I'm looking at things from a much different lens than sort of the standard, dietetics or, nutrition that's associated with fitness plans and things like that. I'm just looking at things from a different lens. I'm trying to fill the gaps for you so that you can balance all these other things out. So with functional nutrition, we need to look at specific nutrients that help fuel the adrenal glands that I talked about that are sitting right on top of your kidneys. If you're under constant stress and you're eating poorly, and sometimes even if you're eating pretty decently, those adrenal glands are soaking up every B vitamin, vitamin C, magnesium. As soon as they come into your body, they're essentially using it up to just be able to fuel the adrenals, to be able to help support you in the stressful environment or situation that you are in. So at minimum, you need good quality adrenal support in your nutrients. You're going to get that from eating plenty of animal protein. They have tons of good B vitamins in it. That will help balance your blood sugar. That will help decrease your inflammation. That will help you create the health that you need. It'll provide the amino acids, the antioxidants in order to help with your sleep, to help with your symptoms of fatigue. It all goes hand in hand. I mean, if you have imbalanced blood sugar and you have fatigue, if you haven't dealt with balancing your blood sugar, even if you're not diabetic, even if you're not pre-diabetic, even if you're not, taking metformin or something like that, if you have not been diagnosed with any of that kind of thing, there's a good chance if you are in here and you're struggling with energy, you have some imbalanced blood sugar. And you can remedy that by eating, back to basics with proteins, fats, and carbs, and just getting that right amount of protein in. All right. So we need to look at our nutrition from a different perspective. Yes, eat more plants. Yes, make sure you're getting your hydration in. Make sure you're getting your protein. But what does that look like for you? We can dig into that a little further if you want more insight into that. And if you're looking for some guidance, but maybe you're not real sure about jumping, into a one-on-one program, you can join my membership. This is the Fatigue Fix Inner Circle. We go through all of this. We go through nutrition for stress management, nutrition for gut health, nutrition for thyroid, nutrition for other hormones. We go into all the details of this, and everything is set up on a step-by-step monthly basis where you get action steps to take charge of your health one month at a time with 1 or 2 action steps. So you're not overwhelmed, so you can actually sustain the things that you need to do to get yourself better and get yourself healed. You also get monthly training in there with a specific topic, and those are held in the private Facebook group for that as well. So if that's something you're interested, I'm going to put the link in the comments, and it is super affordable and it's kind of a no-brainer to do it. This is your absolute baseline program so that you can get a really good foundation, and then you have the option, should you want more in-depth help, that's available to you as well inside of that with an exclusive rate and, things to work with me more one-on-one. So anyway, I would love to see you in there. If you have any questions on the stress management and how this affects your stress and your energy with regard to sleep, self-care, and nutrients, please reach out, please comment below, and I will make sure to get information to you and answer your questions. If you want to, talk outside of the group and get into private messaging, we can certainly do that too. Sometimes people don't want to talk about their, the nitty-gritty of their health condition, and we can do that more privately. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I love to explain this information. I love to make it consumable and easy for people to understand, and also just want to make sure that people can actually implement easy, practical things into their life to overcome their symptoms. All right. So probably the first thing I could do, if you can't do anything else right now, if all you can manage, what I would say my last little tidbit of information would be to start optimizing your sleep. And I know that sounds really hard, but what I would say is just creating habits around calming down before you go to bed. Maybe if you are used to going to bed at 1 in the morning, maybe you keep bumping that time frame up a little bit so you can get your sleep patterns sort of regulated and be consistent with that. That would be a baseline place to start. And then you can just keep building upon that. All right. So thank you for being here. And I will be back next week with more information. But I appreciate you all for joining in, and hopefully you have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.